Hi there. Today I'm going to talk about a subject that may make a few people uncomfortable. It's not commonly spoken about in today's society, but I'm going to talk about spiritual possessions and my experience with one, period. When you're born and throughout your life, you have an auric body of energy around you, your aura, and it acts as a shield. It protects you from energetic attack and spiritual attack. It's basically like spiritual armor. And serious trauma and different traumatic events can actually cause it to crack. If you can imagine that shield getting cracks in it, it can cause it to crack. And in severe cases of trauma or sustained long time trauma like what I endured, it can actually get a hole in it, like basically a cannon blasting a hole in it. And through those cracks and holes, different energies and entities can gain access to your inner operating system. And I equate my experience to this spiritual possession as basically like a malworm coming on board and taking over my internal operating system. And I'm not going to talk about it fully today, but I'm just kind of introduce the truth behind it, because I know a lot of people are aware that they're not alone. Like, I knew my entire life that there was something inside of me, inside of my body, that made me feel uncomfortable. I knew I wasn't alone. I didn't have the verbiage for it yet. It took me like into my 40s after working with a shaman psychologist to understand what was happening. But I knew that there were beings in my body that were not me. And it took me 40 plus years to kind of navigate through that and figure out how to finally get help that put me on the path to healing. And I tried a lot of different things. And in a later video, I'll talk more about what worked and what didn't. But right now, I just kind of want to introduce that concept of knowing that it's not safe to live inside of your body, of having this intrinsic understanding that you don't feel safe in your own body, so you choose to disassociate and live outside of your body like an appendage, right? And that was my experience. I learned at a very early age due to serious trauma and having, a hole blown in that auric field, and then having this malworm being come in and kind of take over my internal software, that I was basically forced out of my physical body and basically forced to live in this alternative reality, this series of alternative realities outside of my body as I watched this internal carnage happen. And I just kind of want to introduce this topic gently, because in today's society, with all the cinematograph, like all of the, what am I trying to say? All of the sensationalism surrounding the occult, that's not really the angle I'm taking on this. I'm taking this more on what it feels like to know that the voices inside of you are not yours, that you are not the voices that you hear, and trying to relay that in today's society, where we are in society today, to try to get help without being told that you're crazy, without being told that you're a terrible Christian, that you opened the wrong, spiritual doors, without being shamed, without being, looked at because basically, if you bring this subject up almost anywhere in today's culture, right, it'll clear a room. That conversation clears a room really quickly. And I'm sharing this video to kind of shed a light, not just on what it felt like, but kind of to open the conversation, the conversational doors, to helping to see it from a different perspective, to help, begin a conversation so that people who are living in this veil of shame can learn how to begin loving themselves through it, to begin shedding the shame, which is one of the most critical parts, and to kind of tell you what worked for me and what didn't, and to show that there is hope on the other side of it. But Again, this is just an opening dialogue about it. I'd love to hear what people have to say. I'm not going to respond to people who are looking to accelerate fear-mongering around this. This is more about people who are seeking help, people who are living in the shadows, and people who don't see an alternative to how they're currently living, which is basically outside of their own body. So again, I'd love to connect with you on social media. If you're not comfortable leaving a message on my feed, you can certainly send me a message and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thanks so much. Talk soon.